So, guys, I think the Sonic series is starting to get to me. While the first three games I played were certainly good and aged mostly well, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is the absolute pinnacle of classic Sonic, and dare I say, even stands at the top of classic video games. Hey there, welcome to my series, where I'm playing through all the main Sonic games for the first time ever, and sharing my thoughts and feelings on them with you. I think by now, this being the fourth video, I can skip the recap about my experience or lack thereof with Sonic before this point, especially because I have a lot to say about this one. Lately, I've been grappling with the concept of whether I'm actually having fun with video games or not. I've been a gamer all my life, and I never really gave it much thought. Gaming was all I really knew to fall back on, so I guess I just assumed that I was having fun no matter what, even if I only enjoyed a small part about a game. But I'm starting to realize that isn't always true, and that I don't have to force myself to play a game past the point of enjoyment. There certainly have been games in recent years that I genuinely had fun with and knew I was, but also nearly as many that I forced myself to play more than I probably should have, convincing myself that's what fun was. I even played countless gacha games since high school that I'm only recently overcoming my addiction to and realizing I don't actually enjoy them. Maybe a video on how much gacha games have damaged my mind and my life in the future if anyone is interested. But anyway, back to my point. I think Sonic 3 and Knuckles has been an important step in my realization of what having fun with a game truly means again. When I wasn't playing this game, I was thinking about Sonic. This journey was to see if I would become a Sonic fan, and if any game is the true starting point for me to finally call myself a fan, it's this one. This game made me need more Sonic content. That's how incredible it is in my eyes. Sonic 3 and Knuckles takes everything I liked, not much I didn't like about the first three games, puts it into one place, and in many aspects, improves upon it. The game starts with a bang by having Super Sonic, the invincible godlike transformation, having his power knocked out in one punch by the new character Knuckles. Whoa! Ow! Dude, you just punched me in my family jewels! What the heck?
They are yours no longer. They are now my family jewels.
Ugh. Ew, weirdo. You should at least take a guy out to dinner first. Now, like Sonic and Tails, I had a pretty good idea as to what Knuckles would be like, having seen the live-action movies, but even still, it managed to surprise me. The story and characters in this entry are expressed to the player much more clearly through gameplay, and much like the movie, involves Sonic and Tails up against Knuckles, who was tricked by Eggman into fighting them over the Master Emerald. There is a really compelling story told here for the time, and especially considering it's told exclusively through sprite animations with no dialogue, is even more impressive. You can see that Knuckles thinks he's doing the right thing for most of Sonic 3, and this completely crumbles when he is betrayed by Eggman in broad daylight. After you fight him, he becomes an ally, and at the start of Mushroom Hill, you learn that he only really wants to keep the Master Emerald safe and doesn't realize this will lead him to doing the exact opposite. It actually even seems like he puts his trust in Sonic and Tails to take care of things and save the day by the end, when he can't continue on anymore in Sky Sanctuary Zone. It's not just the story that's even better than before either. The gameplay and levels are the best they've ever been here. For the most part, Sonic and Tails control the same way they do in Sonic 2, with the spin dash and Tails helping you to fly being your main options besides running and jumping. The biggest differences here are the addition of a projectile parry and elemental barriers that grant you different abilities. These additions are so incredibly cool, and I had so much fun using each and every one. Projectile parry adds a bit more skill expression along with the new level design, more on that in a second. And the elemental barriers, of which there are three, not only make you completely immune to the corresponding element, allowing you to do things like run on lava, but the fire shield gives you an air dash, turning you into a fireball. The water shield gives you a ground pound, both of which opening new paths. And my personal favorite, the electric shield, which gives you not just a double jump with small projectiles, but also magnetizes rings. It's genius. I mentioned a few seconds ago that the level design is the best it's ever been, and I wasn't kidding. Each level is more open and explorable than before, allowing experienced players to take paths someone like me could never dream of, and I imagine that when played to their fullest, many of these levels could be finished in seconds. There are plenty of hidden secrets and helpful items placed carefully around each stage, and I wasn't even close to finding them all. Let's just say it was enough that even someone like me could easily obtain plenty of lives and continues with enough careful exploration. The game starts strong with Angel Island, which is Green Hill but with everything I mentioned above. Halfway through the first act, the whole island gets set on fire, creating a masterful set piece and giving you motivation to get through and save the forest by defeating the boss. Hydro City is the best water level so far by miles, and it had plenty of moments where I was shouting with joy, having the time of my life running along those slides and running along the water at Mach speed. Marble Garden, whose Act 2 I had to repeat a couple times, once due to dying and once due to an issue I had where I unknowingly chose to start the game with no save, something I only realized once I got to Ice Cap Zone and stopped my stream for the day, meaning everything I had done up to that point meant nothing.
I gotta check. I did no save! I have to play through all of it again!
Anyway, Act 2 of Marble Garden Zone sticks out because of the sequence towards the end where the whole stage is collapsing around you and you have to be quick and precise using the collapse to your advantage to escape and reach the boss. Carnival Night is one of the coolest casino levels yet and makes even further use of the incredible physics engine with controllable bouncing platforms and rotating pipes. Ice Cap Zone starts with the amazing and epic snowboarding segment, and thank God it doesn't really have ice physics. Launch Base really makes you feel like you're running up on a giant space station launch, and all the hooks, rails, and pipes you run up, down, and around are very fun, but man, that boss rush at the end can be brutal. Mushroom Hill is another great start for the second half of the game, having new vines that roll out as you run along them, drills that you have to pull on to move you up to new areas, and loops made from the vines that make for really neat imagery. Flying Battery is an even better version of the zone similar to it in Sonic 2, with more sensible and fair platforming and even more detailed locations. Endopolis goes as far as to have its two acts in completely different areas, and you have to utilize floating platforms and bungee cords that made me feel like a thief in the night to safely get around and not fall in the quicksand. Act 2 has you inside a pyramid, keeping the lights on to keep ghosts at bay as you open paths on a timer to get through. Lava Reef felt like a volcano oasis, using rocks or fire shields to stay safe and traverse the molten grounds. Hidden Palace leads into your final confrontation with Knuckles, and the murals hint at something greater in the story as you defeat and turn Knuckles into your ally. Sky Sanctuary feels like an ancient sky temple as you climb your way up using teleporters and fight Metal Sonic 3 times before finally putting him in his place. Getting to the Death Egg, but for real this time. Very excited to finally get to explore the Death Egg after seeing it in Sonic 2, and I was not disappointed. The vacuum of space and the earth in the background as you use light-speed tunnels, moving platforms, and switches in gravity to reach the end and finally stop Eggman's plans really all come together to make it feel like a big final confrontation with Robotnik. This all without even mentioning that none of the zones overstay their welcome, as Sonic 3 continues with the two-act structure, giving just enough to stay fun and exciting. Or how beautiful these levels are yet again. While they were all stunning, the one that stuck out to me the most was Hydro City.
I'm so proud.
With the way the perspective of the water surface changes when you're above it, running on it, or under it, to make it look realistic, and like a 3D body of water in a 2D space. That was a very impressive detail, and they knocked it out of the park as always visually. The platforming also doesn't get in the way of your speed as much in this one. There are mostly clearly defined sections of slower platforming, then the game lets you go all out with your speed like never before, and it's exhilarating. The special stages are also the best they've ever been here.
Oh, Ivo. You're no Maria.
Around me are familiar faces.
For a multitude of reasons, to the point that I actually got all the Super Emeralds and replayed the whole game with Hypersonic before writing the video this time. For Sonic 3 and Knuckles, there are giant rings hidden throughout each level, and more than one per level at that, rewarding exploration and allowing you many chances to collect the Chaos and Super Emeralds. Along with that, once you complete the game, you can simply select a level and repeat it until you've gotten all the emeralds, which is what I did. The actual stages are also my favorite so far. You run around a spherical map, touching blue spheres to turn them red, and avoiding the red spheres until you've touched all the blue spheres. Man, I sound like Josh after saying sphere so many times. Anyway, the mechanics of this are simple and fair, and once I got the hang of it, they were actually really fun, and I didn't mind doing all of them in the slightest. Sadly though, if you have any Chaos Emeralds and go into a secret ring after reaching Mushroom Hill, it takes them from you until you collect the Super Emeralds, which meant no Supersonic for me still this time, only Hypersonic, which was fine, because apparently this is the only game he's in, and that saddens me. Hypersonic is super cool and fun. You collect 50 rings and jump, then press the top face button. Then, you're invincible, super fast, can teleport jump, break walls by walking into them, and flash rainbow colors until you run out of rings. I had a blast using this for a full playthrough, and it was a worthy reward. You even get to just stand still and damage bosses, which is hilarious. And even if the game did still find its ways to BS me through invincibility a few times, the unfair moments were greatly toned down in this entry, and I'm more than happy to overlook them this time around. To sweeten the deal, the true ending this time around is a whole secret zone, the Doomsday Zone, which has you flying through space, avoiding asteroids, collecting rings, and chasing down Eggman to secure the Master Emerald. While short, this stage felt so video game to me, and was just straight awesome and exhilarating. It made me feel like a total badass, and like my time spent mastering the special stages was made use of. The bosses in Sonic 3 and Knuckles were great as usual too. It has quite a few unique ones as well. The standout bosses being the stone golem at the end of Sandopolis Act 1, that you defeat by knocking it into the bottomless pit, the tree-chopping robot and Eggman chases in Mushroom Hill, all three of the final bosses in Death Egg Zone, starting with the creative robot which you defeat with its own bombs by switching the gravity, then destroying the hands of the giant egg bot, making it give itself the finger, and ending with opening up the core laser and bringing it to ruin once and for all. My favorites, though, were probably the improved Metal Sonic, with even more moves than Mecha Sonic, Knuckles, and the end boss of Lava Reef, starting with the chase sequence where he shoots missiles destroying your platforms, and ending with making Robotnik bomb himself as you try not to fall in the lava. The music this time around is still top-notch, with the standouts and my favorites being the Hydro City, Ice Cap, Flying Battery, and Sandopolis, with an honorable mention to Sky Sanctuary. Hydro City's music makes me feel like I'm going through a lively underwater city, and it's just a good vibe for running around an area like that. Ice Cap makes me feel like I'm walking through a frozen cavern with bright, shining ice all around. Flying Battery's tracks made me feel as though I was on a desperate mission to reach the end of this fortress and bring it down. Sandopolis' music made me feel like I was in the atmosphere of an ancient Egyptian desert and abandoned pyramid respectively. It felt ancient with a slight sense of mysticism. Sky Sanctuary feels like a climb through a magical sanctuary meant to guard a great power. This isn't to say that all of the game's music wasn't great or didn't contribute to the feel of their respective levels, but these were the ones I felt best suited their atmosphere and also the ones I liked listening to the most. Needless to say, this is easily my favorite Sonic game so far, and while there are still some areas with room for improvement, they are much less noticeable and egregious this time. I love this game, and while I unfortunately didn't have time to play it as Knuckles before this video was made, I definitely plan to in the near future just for fun. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is classic Sonic perfected and is a fitting end to this era of the Sonic series. I'm pleased to rate this game an 8.5 out of 10. I cannot wait to play and share my experience with the next games with you all, as this game has made me a fan of the series, and I'm extremely excited to get into the acclaimed, highly renowned Sonic Adventure next time. Stay tuned for that coming soon. As always, you can follow me on Twitch to see these playthroughs live, follow me on Instagram for stream schedule information, and check out my VOD channel here on YouTube if you miss a stream. Thank you for listening to me share my thoughts on yet another game most people have probably played decades ago. Hope you enjoyed, and have a wonderful day.